Through the courtesy of the Academy of Model Aeronautics and Model Aviation magazine, today we're at the Yankee Air Museum in Ypsilanti, Michigan, just before the start of the 2015 Thunder Over Michigan Air Show. And with us we have members of the Tuskegee Airman Association. To my left is Bert Lowe, Alex Jefferson in the center, and Al Jameson to my right. Gentlemen, good afternoon. It's a pleasure to see you.
Thank you for inviting us. Thank you.
Alex Jefferson, you have quite a history as
I'm a survivor.
A survivor, 93 years young,
Yes.
A survivor to be sure. Native of Detroit,
That's right.
P-51 pilot.
Oh, a red tail, yes indeed.
Red tail, and author of the book Red Tail Captured, Red Tail Free. We first met in 2006, where you were kind enough to visit the Skymasters Radio Control Club for a presentation.
I had a ball.
Thank you, thank you. And we had you come back for a second visit, where you were presented with a replica of Margot, the P-51 you flew.
That's right.
And then later on in 2006, we actually got you some stick time. And that was all documented in an article in the April 2007 issue of Model Aviation, A Tuskegee Airman Flies Again.
There you go.
You've had, since that time, you've had some tremendous adventures. In the time period since you joined the Skymasters,
Right.
The movie Red Tails came out, and if memory serves me correctly, you traveled to Europe for one of those introductions.
That's right. We went to southern France, went to the place where I was shot down, and we visited the town, and we saw one of the persons who actually saw me walking through the town. It was exciting, through the city of Toulon.
Right. Tell us more about that. Is the field still there, or is it developed into something else?
No, we were right on the shore, right on the waterfront. Concrete, stable where the long towers were. See, we shot up the radar towers right on the coast, and the concrete is there, but the towers are not there anymore. I got hit right at the edge of the water, and by the time I bailed out, I was 7 miles inland, where it actually came down.
You know, it occurs to me that we should also talk about the fact that we're in the middle of the Yankee Air Museum with a replica of a SPAD directly behind us. Memory serves me correctly, you were one of the original founders of the Yankee Air Museum. Am I correct on that?
I was present at the founding meeting, and by the time they asked us to sign your name, I became number 51 of the original. Can't remember the year, but way back when, as an original member.
The Yankee Air Museum has done a phenomenal job in preserving
It's
your generation of aviation and all of aviation.
been a tremendous job, tremendous.
What, I hate to ask, what else have you been up to, because you've been up to so much? Weren't you there with the presentation of the Congressional
We were there.
Medal?
I was at Washington, and I accepted the gold medal for the 32 men of the Tuskegee Airmen who were POWs in Germany during World War II. And on their behalf, I accepted the medal in their behalf. Today, there are only 3 of us still living: Thurston Gaines, Carol Woods, and Alexander Jefferson.
Yeah,
That brings back the memory of something else.
go ahead.
Out of World War II in the Tuskegee Airman experiment, local experiment, there were 992 men who actually received their wings through Tuskegee Army Airfield. Out of those 992, 350 went overseas to North Africa and Italy in combat. They also had, out of those 900, there were men who formed the 332nd, no, the 777, the bomber group,
477.
477,
477.
B-25 outfit.
Yeah.
Each B-25 needed 2 pilots, and those pilots came out of the 992. Today, out of the all 992, we believe there are possibly 25 of us still living today. We did a survey of a couple of months ago. Now, of course, there could be men whom we could not contact.
That's true.
Yeah.
But it gives you the idea of what Mama Nature is doing to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, time has a way of moving on.
That's it.
25 and a half.
Aviation has played an integral role in your life. Expound on that a little bit. Expand on that a little bit.
Number one, they said, well, Jeff, why did you join the Army Air Corps? I look at him and say, hey, wait a minute. World War II is going on. Every man is in the Army, Navy, Marines, Coast Guard, white, black. If you're white or black or green or purple, if I had been drafted, I'd be a buck private. As a black man in the buck, I'd be a buck private, making $21 a month.
Yeah.
The opportunity came to join the Army Air Corps. It opened up for blacks in 1941, but you had to be a college graduate. I finished Clark College in Atlanta in 1942, right after December 7th. I qualified for the Army Air Corps, and as a cadet, you made $75 a month. You slept on a bed in a room, and you ate at a table with a waitress. After 9 months, you became a second lieutenant. You made $150 a month. With the excitement of flying an airplane, it was exciting. World War II was exciting. Came along with combat, which was exciting. I went overseas, and I was a replacement pilot with the 332nd Fighter Group. And I flew 18 missions, long-range missions, escorting B-17s and B-24s from Italy to Germany, Italy to Ploesti. That's when I saw a B-17 explode due to flak. And all of a sudden, it came to me. I'd been enjoying myself. And when I saw this B-17 explode,
With the crew of 10?
that's right. I said to myself, Jeff, you just saw 10 men die.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I puked inside of that oxygen mask. Hell, I was at 25,000 feet. War is hell. And the men who are real heroes are the ones that we left behind. They're the real heroes.
Yes.
When I talked to my friend here who was Vietnam, he's talking about the men he left in Vietnam. Those are the real heroes. The ones I left in Italy, in France, in Germany, Korea. The ones we left at sea. These are the real heroes. War is hell, even today. But that's
Always.
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 Yeah.
What aircraft did you fly?
Started out in the PT-17, went to the BT-13, the vibrator, went to the AT-6, went to the P-40 for 10 hours down to Tuskegee Army Airfield. Almost ground looped that son of a gun. But you take off, and if you don't rack in some trim tab, right trim tab, your right leg gets congealed. Went into P-39s, I got 200 hours in that thing. I loved it. Straight and level, the one with the door, the engine behind you.
Air Cobra.
Air Cobra. Then I went to the P-51 Mustang. That's where I learned how to fly that sucker. It was beautiful.
Rolls Royce engine.
That's it. It was beautiful.
Rolls Royce engine.
Now, you've done some modeling work, aero modeling work as
Aero
well.
modeling.
Did,
Had a ball with the Skymasters.
Skymasters, yep.
Had a ball.
Yep.
Radio control, but I still couldn't master because I'm looking at it come towards me and I want it to go right. And what do? And what happens? It comes left until Joe House had to get behind me. We've got a picture of Joe teaching me
Little bit of a bear
a
hug
little
there.
bit of a bear hug.
Yeah.
But it still didn't get out.
Is that the one that's in the book?
Yeah.
That's the one in the book.
Yep. Yep.
As a youngster, all my life, from age of 3, 4, 5, and 6, model airplanes with balsa, paper model air. See, I was born in 1921. Therefore, I am a World War I stinker. I'm reading magazines about World War I with guys flying Spads, fighting Fokkers. He goes to Paris and he deals with the maman, the mimi, drinking wine. And I made model airplanes all my life, drawing pictures of, reading magazines all my life. So when World War II came along, I'm primed for the Army Air Corps. I didn't want to go to the Navy because I couldn't swim in the first place. But that was exciting.
So you understand and appreciate how model aviation
Had all
can,
the principles of flying. I knew the principle of flying even before I got there.
excellent. And we, of course, we that are involved with aero modeling,
Right.
firmly believe and encourage young people of any age, of any situation, to get involved with model aviation, because it's a way to
That's it.
experience flight
To do
without
the research.
exactly
Yeah.
research without necessarily getting in an airplane.
Right.
And learning about aero modeling helps build a foundation.
And it
for,
demands reading, it demands inspection, it demands formalization and evaluation.
Yeah.
These are the things that it demands.
aerodynamics, fluid dynamics,
Exactly, exactly.
internal combustion engines, avionics. It's just mind-boggling.
I remember 1935, 37, I made a model of a Spitfire, the Supermarine. The Supermarine was the Spitfire with floats that at that time was doing 400 miles an hour. It was airspeed. The Spitfire, golly, with a Merlin engine, or what kind of engine, I can't remember. But see, these are things that research is exciting, opens your mind. You live in a library, by the way.
What since 2007? What other adventures have you been on?
Went back to France with Ron Albers. Ron Albers is retired 06, who was commander of the airfield right outside of Toulon. What's the name of Estras? I can't remember the airfield. And Ron Albers chaperoned and made all the provisions. We went back to Toulon, to the place where I got shot down. We were aiming at the radar stations right on the coast. And of course they're not there anymore, but the concrete is there. And it was exciting because when I was shot down, I went right across the top of the targets, possibly 200 feet. Shell came up through the floor. And I've had kids say, well, Colonel Jefferson, weren't you excited? I said, hell no, I'm so busy doing what I had to do. Were you scared? Heck no. I thought about it about 2 weeks later. What do? You're going about 400 miles an hour. The shell came up through the floor and went out holding the top of the canopy. Thoughts came. I've got to bail out. What do? Pull back on the sticks to get some altitude. And as you go up, you reach over, hit the little knob, and the canopy goes off. At the same time, with your left hand, you reach down, you rack in some forward trim tab. So if you turn the stick loose, the nose goes down. You pull that sucker back anyway. And as you get some altitude, now I don't know how high, but the damn fire got hot and I had to get out. So you get up, and you turn the stick loose, and what happens? The nose pops because of forward trim tab. When the nose popped, you had straps here with a big buckle. You hit that buckle, and all of them, they come loose. All these straps here, they come loose. And when the nose popped, boom, I came out. And I remember going out, watching the tail go by with all that fire. Normally, they said, if you bail out, you count to 1, 2, 3, then you pull the D-ring.
Yeah.
But hell, when I came out, I looked down, I saw the trees. I said, oh hell, I pulled that sucker real fast. Remember looking at it, too low. Bang! The parachute popped, and all I can see is green because I'm in the trees. I'm there trying to get loose, and I hear something, a loud voice saying, Oxo! I said, oh hell, you got me. There's a German with a rifle aimed at me, and while I'm getting out, he's looking at me, and I can tell his eyes are bugged because he's looking at me and my color of my skin. As he's up to saying, where in the hell do you come from? I know that's what he's saying. And
What is it?
and he saw the little gold bar, and he saluted me. Here I am, a tree trying to get out, and he saluted. I said, okay. My introduction to southern France to a German soldier. And by the way, in here, that's the picture I drew.
Some artist.
And you drew that as a POW, didn't
As a
you?
POW.
Yes.
This is the one
There you go.
in the trees. I couldn't draw the German soldier because this is in Germany. But that's when I came out. I could see the tail go by and the fire. I look down and see the green trees. How do I feel? I didn't. Until 2 weeks later, when you stop and think about it and say, you know one thing? Damn it, I almost got killed. But that's when you think about it later on. That's when you get scared.
Yeah.
But that's all part of life.
Yeah.
It's all part of life.
The situation that brought us here to the Yankee Air Museum, I have fun
Oh, listen, we've been bombarded. The sound going by.
talking about this. You have a history here, but I think it was back in February, you and I were having lunch and just talking about life as we do when we get together. And,
Yeah.
and I asked you if you were planning on going to Thunder over Michigan this year. And you said no, you didn't think so.
Nope.
But then you looked at me and said, but it sure would be nice to touch the old birds one more time.
Whoa.
Remember that?
Yes, indeed.
And then you looked at me again and said, "You're instigating something, aren't you?" And I said, "Do you
Yeah.
really want to
All right.
do that, Alex? Do you really
yes,
want to do that?" And you said yes.
Of course.
And
It's an opportunity.
that
It's intriguing.
that put me in touch with the wonderful folks at the Yankee Air Museum,
Who-
who not only graciously said yes, but
Yes.
absolutely.
Bob Hines.
Bob Hines and the
Yes.
crew out here
Yes, indeed.
were just fantastic to work with
It's-
to make all these arrangements for us to be here today. Being the instigator that I am, I then contacted the staff of Model Aviation
All right.
and said, "Hey, by the way, we got this thing going on.
Okay.
Would you like to be part of it?"
Well.
And that's why the staff of Model Aviation drove up from Muncie, Indiana to allow this videotape to be made so that we've got some history going forward. There is a direct tie between the city of Detroit and Tuskegee Airmen,
Right.
and there is a Tuskegee Airman chapter in Detroit.
That's
The
correct.
founding chapter.
I'm sorry?
The founding chapter.
That was the first one?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And it started in my basement
In his basement.
in 1972.
Tell us more about that, please.
By 1972, we had come back from the Army, and quite naturally with families, and we were at a place where it said, let's get together and have a ball. And they said, where will we go? Let's go to Jeff, because my wife had passed, and my basement was old. And they started in my basement with Coleman Young,
Coleman Young, the mayor of Detroit?
the mayor of
Yeah.
Detroit,
Okay.
Wardell Polk,
Dick Macon.
Dick Macon,
Macon.
Holloway, Bob Walker, and we all got together and we started the first chapter, which was later inaugurated into Tuskegee Airman Inc. The large, and 3 years later, chapters started in Chicago, Washington, Philadelphia, and we all got together in '75, and Tuskegee Airman Inc. And
Is the chapter still active?
yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Every second Thursday of every month, we meet down on Biddle, on Abbott, and we're still going. We also started the Tuskegee Airman National Museum down at historic Fort Wayne, down on the river.
Yeah.
We got it because we needed a place for a museum. Coleman Young was the mayor, and the Detroit chapter, bargaining with the Detroit City Council, we got the use of one of the buildings in historic Fort Wayne. We renovated it, and we started our museum there. And it's still going on today. Still open. In fact, I've got a key. Anybody want a tour?
Yeah.
We can tour.
Excellent.
Good.
Tell me about Red Tail Captured, Red Tail Free.
My life
Why did you write it? When did you write it? Why did you write it?
started in 2002, 2004, 2005. I do a lot of presentations. Somebody said, Jeff, why don't you write a book? I said, nobody wants a doggone book. I was forced. I sat down with Microsoft Word and I started typing.
And Charlie Dryden.
And Charlie Dryden, who was he was in the third class. And I started typing, and I typed up about 1,000 pages. Put the pictures together, and Lou Carlson, a English professor at Western Michigan, put it all together, and we published it as Red Tail Captured, Red Tail Free. There's one picture, my graduation picture, that the Germans had this picture. And they said, Lieutenant, isn't that you? They knew, they had my Chatsey High School records, my grades at Chatsey High School in Detroit, had my grades at Clark College in Atlanta, had my grades at Howard University. They knew more about me than I knew about myself.
There's something.
Story of how they got it, that's another story. But they knew also, remember now, there were 100,000 American flying officers in Stalag Luft 3 in Poland, where I was. I was the fourth black in that camp. There were 100,000 white officers who had been shot down over German-occupied territory. And the Germans knew almost everything about each man. And you say, how? Let's go back.
Luke, you faded.
What happened to the Japanese Americans in Oregon and Washington after December 7th?
Yeah.
They interred them.
Yeah.
What happened to the German Americans in this country when Germany declared war on the United States?
Nothing.
Why?
White.
Because they're white.
Color skin.
You can go to the Board of Education and find out your children's marks, and also anybody else's children's marks. You can go to the tax office and find out your taxes and the taxes of anybody else on your street. These are records that German Americans in the United States were sending back to Germany. They knew more about me than I knew about myself.
Yeah.
Because at the age of 22, I did not know how much taxes my dad paid on his house, but the Germans were able to tell me that. This is all part of life. You learn, and you learn, and you learn more and more. When I was interred at the interrogation at Frankfurt on the Main, the interrogator came in with a big book like this and the pictures, and then he talked about the fact that he knew about how in Detroit that you got you went down on East Adams, down to the end of East Adams. No,
Yeah.
east of East Adams, you go north on Hastings,
Hastings Street.
and when you get to Forest, Sonny Wilson's bar was he knew about Sonny Wilson's bar
Yeah.
on the corner of Forest and Hastings. Bingo. These are things that almost unheard of. In Atlanta, he knew about West Hunter, where blacks had a restaurant
Yeah.
on Hunter Street.
Yeah.
Could remember the proprietor's name. I forgot now. But you sit here and you listen to it, you're
your
astounded.
mind.
You're astounded.
Blow your mind.
You blow your
Where
mind.
Where can folks get a copy of Red Tail Captured, Red Tail Free?
I hate to say it, it's got to be Alexander Jefferson. I've got boxes and boxes of them.
Okay.
We're trying to put them into libraries.
I have them in 4 libraries now. To get them with his signature, you can call me.
Al
I can
Jameson.
give you my name, Al Jameson, 313-405-6346, and I will mail you a copy of it signed by him.
Yeah.
You can't get that signature on anywhere else.
I understand that there's actually an airfield named after you.
I belong to another air club, the Aero Modelers, Detroit Club.
Detroit Aero Modelers.
Detroit Aero Modelers. And the field that we flew was at
On
Joy
Joy
Road
and
in Spinoza.
in
and
Detroit.
the field was almost to the place where the city was getting ready to sell it, and the Aero Modelers protested and named it after someone who happened to be a Tuskegee Airman, and bingo.
That's the Detroit Air. Thank you for reminding me. That's the Detroit Aero Modelers that fly in Rouge Park, Joy and Spinoza.
That's
and
correct.
That's right. They named their
Field.
aero modeling field the
Alex.
Lieutenant Alex
Alexander
Jefferson radio-controlled model airplane field.
Right.
Folks, we have a ball. Life is beautiful. I got news for you. All you got to do is become involved.
Yes,
You got to
Indeed.
get up off your knees and hustle.
and hustle.
Good. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being with us today.
been
We're
fantastic.
gonna leave now and go out and touch those old birds. for a little bit.
Just
Okay.
a touch.
Today, thanks to the generosity of the Yankee Air Museum, Model Aviation Magazine, and the Academy of Model Aeronautics, we've had the privilege of spending some time with some Tuskegee Airmen, focusing in on the life of Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Jefferson and his contributions to the freedoms that we all enjoy every day. My name is Joe Haas. Thanks for joining us.